ఇంటర్మీడియట్ విద్యారంగంలో అగ్రగామి మన ఎన్ఎస్ఆర్ ఇంపల్స్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ ఇన్స్టిట్యూషన్. ఐఐటి జేఈఈ అయినా నీట్ అయినా తిరుగులేని విద్యా సంస్థ ఎన్ఎస్ఆర్ ఇంపల్స్.
Hello students, now let us continue with our botany class. So far we have discussed about morphology. In morphology, a last concept what we have discussed is the fruit part. As we discussed earlier, fruit is very important, and last concepts if you take androecium, it's nothing but stamens, gynoecium nothing but pistil and carpel, meaning the total flower part and fruit part are very important for the final need. So coming to morphology, of course if you take root, stem, leaf, inflorescence, this is completely one part. Definitely from this half part we have chance to get a good number of questions, and last part flower and fruit we expect more number of questions from last part, that is flower and fruit. So morphology, it has good weightage, even though we have so many examples, but if you practice, morphology becomes very easy, and it is a scoring chapter, morphology. So make sure that even though we start with the next chapter, make sure that you keep revising all morphology and all morphology related examples. So try to recollect it, try to revise number of times, and all NSR Impulse students, I'll tell you that for coming cumulative exams also I'll try to include morphology, because morphology has a good weightage on final need. So even though we go ahead with the next chapter, but for the cumulative exams we will try to revise morphology. So keep revising morphology. Now let us start with the next chapter, living world. The next chapter is nothing but, what is the name of the chapter? Living world. In living world we are going to study from the basics and introduction about living organisms. So living world is the very first chapter in Telugu Academy as well as in NCERT textbook. It has the basics, and I think in zoology you already have studied some part of introduction and some part of information about living world. So in this living world we mainly are going to speak about living organisms. So about living organisms we have plants and animals. So about plant and plant related part of introduction about living organism we discuss in our botany class. About animals and animal examples you might be discussed in zoology class. If it is not completed, you will come to know in coming classes in zoology. So for all of us it's biology. So biology first chapter living world, if you open we have common examples for, together it's biology. So we have examples for both plants as well as animals. So plant related examples we will discuss in botany, and animal related examples we discuss in zoology. So for botany and zoology the common chapter is living world. Okay, so if you might have completed discussion in zoology, few things will be similar, but there you might have studied animal examples, but here we are going to discuss about plant examples. Now, so when we take the living world, first of all we would like to discuss a definition for living organism. How do we define living organisms? So it's an introduction chapter and it has basics. Now let us concentrate on this, and we will start with the definition of a living organism. Just excuse me guys. Sorry guys, let us continue with this. Now what is the thing we are going to study? We are going to study now about a definition. Now we are going to study about a definition. What is the definition here? We see a state or a material complex characteristic of or better you can write down, there are many characteristics. So write down characteristics of an individual such as we take into consideration of growth. So we will try to define with some of the parameters. What are the parameters? Growth, metabolism, then reproduction, right, cellular organization, along with that the movement, consciousness, so these are nothing but the parameters with which we will try to define a living organism. So let us come to once again what is the definition for living organism. We say a definition is a state or material complex. So when you take the state or material complex, the place where all materials join together, aggregate together and they form the complex. What we are trying to say, a state or a material complex means complexity or the complex of materials. What materials we take? We say biomolecules. What are biomolecules? We are going to study later. They may be amino acids, proteins, vitamins, nucleic acids, all that all will come under biomolecules. They all are called materials. They all will join and the complex, they form the complex. So, a living organism is defined it as a state or material complex having characteristics of an individual, or we say it has some characteristics, those characteristics form an individual. So, what characteristics of individuals we have to take into consideration of? The parameters such as the growth, metabolism, reproduction, cellular organization, movements, consciousness. Right. So, when you take these parameters, whenever these characteristics are exhibited by an individual, whenever these characteristics are exhibited by the material complex or the state of complex, then that particular structure itself is called as a living organism. So, we are trying to define the parameters which are called characteristics of an individual, characteristics of a living organism. Now, let us, before we start with these characteristics, first of all, when you talk about the discovery of a living organism, if you talk in terms of evolution, initially we find unicellular prokaryotic organisms, slowly they developed into multicellular organisms and eukaryotic organisms. So, when you talk about how we people or scientists have come about a study of living organism, the definition for living organism, or when they put an effort to define what is a living organism. So, for this let us talk about effort of the scientist. So, here in the living world we need to talk about the most eminent scientist, Ernest Mayr. So, in living world we are going to study about the scientist Ernest Mayr. Who is the scientist we are going to speak about? Ernest Mayr. Now, Ernest Mayr is the one who started, he is the one who has given species diversity and he started observing the world, and he spoke about evolution, how living organisms are evolved and what are the characteristics of living organism. Of course, there are many scientists who studied about living organisms and diversity of living organisms, but the most eminent of one among 100 scientists we need to speak about today, Ernest Mayr. Now, let us speak about Ernest Mayr. Now, Ernest Mayr let us speak about Ernest Mayr. Now, when you talk about Ernest Mayr, he is from, he referred as, he is an evolutionary biologist. Okay. So, right. Ernest Mayr, he is the one who referred as an evolutionary biologist. So, I told you, no, he is the one who observed about evolution. What is evolution? development of multicellular eukaryotic organisms from the primitive unicellular organisms. The slow gradual development itself is called evolution. The scientist who studied about living organisms is called biologist. Bio means life. So, when the scientist studied about life of living organisms, it is called biologist. Now, who also studied about evolution is together it is referred as evolutionary biologist. So, today we are speaking about Ernest Mayr. Ernest Mayr is an evolutionary biologist. So, when you talk about this evolutionary biologist, now he is from Harvard University. Harvard University. So, he is referred as a one among 100 great scientists. He referred one among 100 great scientists. So, if you take in the entire world the 100 great scientist list, if you take it out for the science and technology today, and out of the great 100 scientist list, if you take out, in that there is one name definitely it will be there. Who is that? Ernest Mayr. He is such a great and eminent scientist. So, when across the world when you keep 100 great scientist list, Ernest Mayr definitely he will be one among the 100 great scientists. Then, so here if you take is the one studied about, he has written the book, what is that called, and he was studied about origin of species diversity. Origin of the species diversity, very important. Origin means what? From where it has begun, from where it has started. Origin meaning from where it has started, where it has begun, right? That is called as origin. Origin of species. Species means we take a group of organisms with similar characteristics. What is the meaning of species? We take group of organisms with similar characteristics. So, we talk in this lesson, we are going to speak about species and diversity, everything we are going to study. So, when you take a group of organisms in different diversity means they show differences, they show variety, different varieties. Diversity means different varieties, different characteristics, different genetic characteristics. The same organisms, so for example, when I say why it has become such a highlight and has made as the great scientist here, because origin of species diversity meaning we all are human beings. We all are of same category called human beings. Let us take for a species I am telling you what is species definition I gave, group of organisms with similar characters, but they show deviations, they show differences. Diversity means they exhibit different characters. For example, we are human beings, we all human beings have same 2 eyes, 2 ears, 2 hands, 2 legs, we all are human beings. But you know the human beings who stays in USA and in other countries or the regions which are towards polar or other part of earth, and the human beings who are staying in other part of the earth, we show many differences. Of course, we all are group of organisms, but we show many differences. Why differences? Why diversity? Because we stay in different environment. Environment has influence on living organisms. So, how species show diversity? What diversity means, what differences they show, and from where there is a origin, what is the origin of species diversity. So, from where they started producing themselves into environment, from where first organism started produced in the environment. Origin means from where it has begun. You know, Big Bang theory and all that, there are many theorists across the world who all speaks about evolution, from where life started on earth. right? That's origin, right? And from the beginning of living organism formation on earth and how they show species diversity, how they show differences in their existence on earth was revealed and studied and kept an effort by a scientist Ernest Mayr. For his great eminent work and effort, he is referred as the Darwin of 20th century. The Darwin of 20th century, very important, who is referred as the Darwin of 20th century. So, when you take the Darwin, you know about Darwin theory and all that, right? Anyway, but he is referred as the Darwin of 20th century for his great work and his contribution towards evolutionary biology, right? So, this is what about Ernest Mayr. Now, this is what we have to remember about Ernest Mayr. Mainly speak about what is called species diversity. Now, let us continue about with the in living world we define what is called living organism. It is a place where all materials will join together and they form the characteristics of an individuals, and what characteristics we need to start discussing: growth, metabolism, reproduction, cellular organization, movement, consciousness. Now, let us start defining a growth. Okay, let us start our definition for growth. So, what is the first characteristic we are going to study about a living organism? That is nothing but growth, right? How do we define the growth? Of course, there are many definitions to define the growth phenomena. Now, let us take definitions such as a sequence of the processes, a sequence occurrence of processes, the sequence occurrence of processes such as, so in a particular sequence they have to happen. Sequence occurrence means in a particular sequence they have to happen, and a sequence of all the processes that occur. What are they? They are nothing but cell division. What is the first parameter? Cell division. Then cell elongation and cell differentiation. What are the three processes we can define? A cell division, cell elongation and cell differentiation. So, for example, growth can be defined in terms of any organism you can take as an example. For what you can say, human being growth, animal growth, plant growth. For example, let us see, because in front of us we can see the plants growing in the environment. For example, if you take the plant, so we know that at the tip of the plant we find the cells, and at the tip what the cells we find, we discussed in morphology, we find what is called as apical meristem. What do we find here? We find apical meristem. These apical meristem, these cells, they divide. Initially they undergo the process called as what? Cell division. Cells undergo division. Cells undergo division. As a result of cell division here, you can see formation of new cells. At the time of cell division, what happens? One cell will divide and produces two cells. The two cells further divide and becomes four cells. right. So, here first initially the cells divide, they undergo the first phenomena called as cell division. The first phenomena called as what? Cell division. Then followed by cell elongation. After cell division, cells elongate in size. They elongate in size means they extend their size, they elongate in size. So, cells undergo the process called as cell elongation. What happens here? Cells initially they divide and they undergo the called cell division. New cells are produced and these cells they elongate in size. Why do they elongate in size? It is because of formation of what you can see here, it is nothing but vacuoles. Okay, what you can see is nothing but because of formation of vacuoles. Empty space which is present inside the layer, that layer has a membrane that is called tonoplast. We are going to study in next chapter cytology. Because of bigger vacuole, meaning I think in lower classes you studied, the vacuole occupies more space and inside the vacuole nothing, you find only fluid containing waste material. So, empty space occupied with the membrane, it is called vacuole. So, because of vacuolation, cells elongate in size, that is the second process called cell elongation. Then followed by cells will undergo, so cell division is A process, that is cells will divide, cells elongate, that is B process. After A, B is the sequence, cell elongation, then cells will get differentiated. So, that is called cell differentiation. What is the next one? We call cell differentiation. So, when you take here cell division, cells will divide, new cells are formed, they elongate in size because of formation of vacuoles is called cell elongation. After that each cell becomes mature, it completely develops, every cell is assigned to do a specific function. So, one cell, it becomes parenchymatous cell, you know, simple cells, parenchymatous. Later we are going to discuss all these parameters will come in other chapters. Some cells become chorenchymatous, some cells, okay, in your understanding language I can tell you, some cells they themselves develops into leaves and they undergo photosynthesis. Some cells they develop into xylem and they conduct water. Some cells converts them into, develops themselves into phloem, it conducts food material. So, every cell develops structurally and functionally. So, when cell develops structurally and functionally into completely a different one, that is called cell differentiation. Okay, what is cell differentiation? Every cell is undergoing a structural differences and its own specific functional differences. When cell undergoes structural and functional differences and every cell has specific role to do, every cell has specific function to do, then it is called a cell differentiation, meaning some cells involved in development of leaf, some cells involved in development of branches, some cells involved in development of the stem, then the process is called cell differentiation. Got it, guys? So, here how do you define the growth? Growth is nothing but a sequence of occurrence of processes. What processes will undergo here? We can take cell division followed by cell elongation followed by cell differentiation. So, apart from this, if you look at, we have so many parameters to define the growth. Let us check other definitions to define growth. So, let us see, this is one definition. Even we have, there are plenty of ways to define a growth phenomena. We have so many definitions to define a growth. How do you define the growth? So, here new cells are produced, they elongate in, and because of new cells in front of you, you can see a plant is growing. So, what is happening here is growth phenomena, the plant is growing, right. So, if you take, so growth can be defined in terms of increase in size, or we take increase in mass, or it can also be defined as, what is the symbol? If you are not understanding the symbol, but I am writing complete thing, increase in volume, and then increase in, so increase completely I have written, this is applicable for this all, right. Increase in volume, okay, we can take even increase in height, increase in weight, increase in weight, right. So increase in density, what not, there are so many parameters, right. So this all will come under, we have different definitions to define a growth phenomena. What are they? Increase in size, if you can see organism is increasing in its size, itself is also can be defined as growth, right. Increase in mass itself is also called growth. Increase in volume or increase in weight, increase in height or weight, right. Increase in density, if at all you can see when you heat the iron or any other component, you can see some of them they expand. For example, during rainy season, you know, the doors will get expanded, they get swelling, right, they will not fit into frames. Density increases, anything if you keep the absorbent into water, it takes water, density increases. So even if you say increase in density or weight and height, it can be also defined as, it can be also referred as the phenomena called as what? Growth, right. So can you see the growth happening within the plant? Yes, definitely we can say. So growth is referred as, so I will come to that point later. First let us see that, growth, if you take, growth is, let us see in case of abiotic components and let us see in case of biotic components. Okay. So when you take the biotic and abiotic components in this case, if you take abiotic components, meaning what we can take, abiotic components are also called as a non-living, in lower classes you studied, right. Abiotic components are also called as what? A non-living things we call. Similarly coming to biotic components, meaning what? A living organisms, or we say a living things, right. So when you say abiotic components we call non-living things, biotic components we call a living things, right. Abiotic meaning non-living, biotic meaning living. Now you might be thinking in your mind, why I have written non-living things under growth? Yes, that is important to know here, because when you see abiotic components also exhibit growth phenomenon, meaning what? They also undergo growth phenomena. How do they undergo growth phenomena here? Better let me write this thing little up so that you have complete comparison. We will discuss, because I need more space to have the comparison, and biotic also we have 7 different categories and we need to differentiate them, writing at one place. So, I will erase the board. Before that, let me quickly revise with this. So, what you have to understand here, growth can be defined as a sequence of occurrence of processes such as, what do we say, a sequence of cell division followed by cell elongation, then followed by cell differentiation. So, when you take here, when cells divide, new cells are produced, they elongate in size because of vacuoles, and cells will get differentiated, and that will come under cell differentiation. Not only that definition, we can define in number of terms. If you take like increase in size is also called growth, increase in mass, or we can define with other parameters like increase in volume, increase in height, increase in weight, and increase in density. Now, let us see that how growth phenomena happens in abiotic components and biotic components. So, guys, here why I have written abiotic components, because abiotic components also exhibit growth phenomenon. So, let us study now this part very clearly. Let us continue. So, we can clearly take abiotic components itself are called as what? Non-living things. Non-living things. Now, what is the other category we can write? We can define, we can study biotic components itself are called as living things. Right. So, what we are trying to define? Abiotic components also called non-living things, biotic components also called as living things. Okay. So, when you take abiotic components, non-living things here, what we can study, just now I told you that non-living things also exhibit growth, Generally, you may think that you may not accept with this. You may question me if you are in front of me, you can ask me that how do you think the table will grow, madam, this is non-living thing. How do you think chair is a non-living thing, it will not grow, then how can you tell us that non-living things can exhibit growth? Table is there, table will not grow, chair will not grow, or the whatever you take non-living thing, book will not grow, right? Any non-living thing if you see in environment, generally they will not grow, no, that is why they are called non-living. Then how you can tell us that non-living things will exhibit a growth? If you are in front of me, I know definitely you will ask this question to me, right? Yes. So, here definitely I will let you know this very clearly. Here if you look at abiotic components also exhibit by growth, because here if you look at it happens by also exhibit growth by accumulation of materials on the surface, accumulation of materials on the surface. The best examples for this, if you look at, we can take the growth of the mountains, sand dunes, all will come. What is the meaning of this? Guys, if you look at some 30 years or 20 years back, maybe there may be a place where a small sand particles or soil particles might have got accumulated. And maybe you think after, okay, the place, the day when you saw, there is nothing, a few soil particles are gathered, aggregated together, they accumulated at one particular place, right? And if we left for, you just left out of that place, maybe you are coming and visiting the place after 20 years or 30 years. If on the same place, because of addition of, or you can say maybe it is a low lying area, where surface run of water, you can take that. What you can understand here is, suppose if you take, when you see the plane mass here, maybe this is a low lying area where a small particles aggregated, used together, surface run of water whenever there is a rainfall. So, what happens because of rainfall? You know, soil erosion takes place. What is soil erosion? Outermost layer of the soil will be removed. It is called soil erosion. Right. So, when you take that outermost layer, when it get removed because of rainfall, surface run of water, what you can see here, surface run of water may carry all the sediment particles, soil particles, and they drop and get deposited at one place. So, all particles are keep getting deposited. Now, if you leave like that, if you are coming and seeing after 30 years or 20 years, what you can see, now you can see there may be accumulation of maybe a small mountain you can see, or sand dune you can see. Yes or no? Like that, if you leave it for million years or 100 years or 500 years or thousands of years, maybe after thousands of years, because continuation of sedimentation, meaning what is happening here? Accumulation of material is happening on the surface. There is accumulation, meaning materials are added. How they are added? Externally on the surface. Because of addition of materials, what happens? Maybe if you leave it like that after 100 years or 200 or 1000 years, then what you can see here, maybe there is a formation of a mountain. and if you leave it like that and visiting that after 20 years, 10 years, then what you can see? You can see formation of a sand dunes, yes or no, right. So, here what is happening in this nothing but we call the exhibit the growth called as external growth. They exhibit the growth called as external growth. So, growth it is of two types. What is the two types of growth? So, here let us take there is two types of growth. What is the two types of growth? One is called external growth and other one is called as internal growth. So, external growth meaning externally due to accumulation of materials on the surface, addition of materials externally on the surface, the growth occurs. You can tell me that, maybe you can ask me a question that, ma'am, that is simply an addition, how can you call that is as a growth? Yeah, definitely that is alright, accepted, but if why we have to accept that as a growth? Maybe if you are seeing in your childhood, you are seeing that there is nothing, only soil particles gathered, and if you are coming and visiting after 40 years and 50 years, maybe there is a small mountain, there is a development of small mountain. So, the mountain was growing there. It has proper structure and shape to identify as a mountain. How mountain has suddenly it has not come and stood there as a mountain, right? Slowly a sequence of addition of sediment particles, they all join together, slowly something is growing. Definitely it is growing, then only you can see yes there is an existence of mountains. It may take hundreds of years, hundreds of million years. What we can see in the outskirts or in the hilly areas, hilly stations, the mountains what we can see, once upon a time they were very simple soil sediments. It has taken billion years over time, they have taken the shape. So, at the time of forming the shape, yes definitely they are growing, but the growth is called as what? External growth. Why do you call this as external growth? Because accumulation of materials on the surface has taken place externally. So, this happens because of mountains and sand dunes. When you take the types of growth, we can see types of growth means external growth and internal growth. When you take external growth, look at here, external growth happens in abiotic components. So, non-living things also exhibit the phenomena called growth, whereas internal growth happens in case of living organisms. Biotic components or living things, they undergo what is called as internal growth. Internally the growth takes place in case of abiotic components or living things. So, growth if you take, we have two categories, external growth and internal growth. Where external growth takes place in non-living components are called abiotic. What do you call that type? External growth. Coming to biotic components and living thing, what is the growth takes place here? Internal growth. It happens inside the body of living organisms. So, let us continue here. Now, when you take here, guys, I am telling you, especially with junior students, make sure that this is Living World chapter what we are taking. In Living World chapter, we just started with the introduction part. Concepts are very simple. So, what I suggest you all, NSR Impulse students, I suggest you all to start revision seriously for morphology. So, for today's class, you can take the study of root concept. Once again, you start studying seriously revision of the concept of root. Start revision for the root concept, and mainly let us complete up to root modifications. So, for the complete root concept, take the root and types of roots and including all root modifications. In root modifications, what is the type of root? Examples along with the diagram. Try to practice and start doing the work very seriously. Very important, morphology chapter very important for the final NEET. So, make sure that, and also for the final IP first year board exam. So, make sure that you start your revision very seriously morphology along with the study of the basics of the simple chapter of Living World. As soon as you study and write once without seeing on the paper with a neat handwriting, what type of roots and examples, what type of modifications, examples, diagrams, draw very clearly and practice and try to send me in WhatsApp. The WhatsApp number is, I am writing on the board, I hope it is clearly displayed. Start working day to day work seriously because morphology we completed, that's very important chapter. As soon as you write without saying on a white paper, after your practice write a test and send me WhatsApp. My WhatsApp number is 9912565906. I have written here. Make sure that if you can complete root modifications after studying the living world, it is a very basic chapter. It takes hardly 5 to 10 minutes, but spare most of your valuable time for the revision of root modification and this. And after you write without saying, with the clear neat diagrams and along with the concept on the paper or a book, try to send me pictures to this. And the people who does very serious and very sincere work, they are highly appreciated. Okay guys, yes.
ఇంటర్మీడియట్ విద్యారంగంలో అగ్రగామి మన ఎన్ఎస్ఆర్ ఇంపల్స్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ ఇన్స్టిట్యూషన్. ఐఐటి జేఈఈ అయినా నీట్ అయినా తిరుగులేని విద్యా సంస్థ ఎన్ఎస్ఆర్ ఇంపల్స్.